You already know you want more. You can feel it, that pull towards something bigger. This podcast is for anyone who's done waiting for permission. I'm Julia McElgunn. I'm a geologist, a founder, and the author of A Life Chosen. And every week I have conversations with people who decided, quietly, precisely, and without apology, to choose the bigger life. This is Choose Life Boldly. Welcome. So welcome to episode 2 of the Choose Life Boldly podcast. I'm your host, Julia McElgunn, and today I have a great and amazing friend who's my guest, Heather Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Julia.
Heather, why don't you introduce yourself?
So I've been working in the oil and gas industry for over 25 years. When I first started, I was really working in the Indigenous relations space, but over the life of my career, it's broadened to more non-technical risk management. So I've been very fortunate. I've had this global career that's taken me around the world where I've got to look at non-technical risks. So how our projects and operations impact people and civil society and the benefits, and help manage them. I help the business understand what those risks are, what it would take to mitigate them, how it could impact them, and help them make that decision in context of all the other decisions or things that feed into that decision. So I think that's kind of the easiest way to.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm a bit of a fixer. I come in and kind of fix things. I look for the problem in the non-technical space and try to help fix and get things going in the right direction. Yeah.
I would say you're really great at that. Your connection with people is, I think, the reason why you are such a strong fixer. When I think about you and when we first met, you definitely have. It was a long time ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. I don't want to say how many years. But yeah, it was like you are one of my oldest and dearest friends. So, but I think really when I first met you, you had this aura about you. It was exuberant and energetic, but there also was a line.
Yep.
And there was a line you didn't cross. And so I just want to ask you, like, how did you know to be that confident in yourself when you were that young? And how did you continue to let people in through?
So I'm gonna tell you 2 secrets, Julia. One is wasn't that confident, and I'm still not that confident, and that always surprises people. I project a lot of confidence, but it's not always there. So you might have saw confidence. There's probably some legs, some feet below the water, but I really believed at that time early in my career, and to a certain extent now, maybe a little lesser, fake it till you make it. And I actually didn't really know what I was doing, but I just did what I felt was right and what was best in the work that I was doing, which was the right thing. But I was also working with people that didn't understand my space, so they didn't question what I was doing. So I just got to try to do things, and people just listened to me, and I think they took that as confidence. But let's be honest, didn't really know what I was doing and really wasn't as confident as I projected. But like I said, I was doing what I felt was right, and that has always guided me throughout my entire career. I'm guided by my feeling of what is the right thing to be doing, and it may not always be the most popular thing. And I really stand by. I like you said, there's a line you don't cross. Because I'm stubborn, a little strong bullheaded, and I don't give in that easy because in my space, I have to be very passionate. I don't want to say about protecting the people, but advocating for them in my space. But yeah, so wasn't as confident as maybe I projected, at least not inside. And it really was fake it till you make it. And yeah, but it has served me really well.
It has, yeah, for sure. You know what? I would never have guessed that when we first met.
But even now,
even now,
like there's still times where I'm just like, Yeah.
The showcasing of confidence versus the feeling of confidence
Yeah.
is really, I think, what you're
Yeah.
what you've obviously mastered.
It is. Well, I don't know if I've mastered it. Um, I get in my head a lot. And
Mm.
I have found it's really ebbed and flowed throughout my adult life. There's definitely been times in my life where I've felt more confident and felt the confidence that I'll outwardly projected. And there's been other times where I've felt that I've had to project that, like it's almost been a mask or a bit of self-preservation. I worked for a large company for a good part of my career, and I realized after I had left how much it had eroded my confidence,
Mm.
and not intentionally, but just through systems and processes in the company and the way it was structured. And I mean, I had a great career there, but I really realized when I was taking time to step back and reflect what I wanted to do with this last part of my career, how much it had eroded my confidence. And it took some time and some real work and reflection to realize my value, my worth, and what I brought to the table. And I was a little surprised at how my confidence had been eroded so much. And yeah, but I've worked past that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? That resonates with me. I had worked for a large company as well.
Yeah.
And when I was no longer working with them, actually it was in between almost the transition period. I decided to go back to school, and I walked into this program feeling that I didn't belong
Mhm.
at all. And I was driving to work one day after semester one, and I realized semester one was all about finding my confidence
Yeah.
back, finding me back. I had to go to school and pay thousands of dollars to figure that out and figure out that I didn't have the confidence,
Mhm.
and then figure out how to find the
Yeah.
confidence again. That was, and I had worked for 25
Yeah.
years as a geologist in oil and gas at
Yeah.
that time. And it was a really sad realization. Like, there was a lot of grief in that.
And here's the really sad thing. Like, I know I'm damn good at what I do. Like, I know that.
Yes, you are.
I know that. And I know what I'm doing. I'm great at what I do. But for the longest time there, I don't know if I just didn't feel it or whatever it was. Um, yeah. And then I sit on a board with a bunch of very impressive women. And when I joined it, I was just like, I don't belong at this table. Like,
Wow.
I really felt that. And like, we're talking like some CEOs and like just some real badass women who I have a lot of respect for. And to have them say to me, and I hear it a lot, and I don't mean this egotistically, they're like, oh my God, you're so amazing. You're so smart. You're this. And even now I struggle with it because I don't see myself at their level. Like,
Mm.
and I was trying to one of them not too long ago, but I said, I feel very intimidated by you. I said, I don't feel as confident. Like, I have found in these last few years, I've really been like thinking about how I feel and my confidence. Um, and not negatively, but just trying to be more aware of it and why I'm feeling it. But I'm now owning my experience, realizing that, yeah, I'm up there, right?
Wow.
But it takes a lot to get there.
It
And
does.
I think as women in particular, we downplay our successes, we downplay our accomplishments. Um, yeah, we sit back a little bit more. And I mean, you've known me for a long time. I'm out there, I'm loud, you know, I'm
Yep.
all of that, but I shrink back a lot. Like,
You do. You're right. As soon
yeah,
as you said it, you downplay
yeah,
what you're able to do,
yeah,
what you're able to accomplish, the impact you have, and
totally,
the value you
totally.
bring. I wasn't surprised when after you took a break that people were calling
Yeah,
you to say, "Come work for me. I need you on this project. I need you to do this," because you're your entire career, you have gone in and gone above and beyond what was expected and created these relationships with community and with the society around these big infrastructure
Yes.
projects within oil and gas. And it doesn't matter where in the world. It didn't matter if it was in Northern Canada, like in the
Yep.
Northwest Territories, or if it was in Iraq,
Yeah.
or anywhere. Like you have touched so many corners of the world, and it comes down because you have this skill and this ability to understand the people and the project and connect in between.
And it comes down to also relationships. Um, what I've realized is there's two things that you have. You have your reputation and you have your relationships. And I think nowadays, particularly in younger people, they don't recognize that as much. And I have had success in my career because of the relationships I've made and the relationships I've cultivated, and like in a very authentic way. Um, I stay in touch with people because I care. That's the way I am. I like to talk to people, and I hold people close. But it's also my reputation and what I've been able to do and achieve. And I've reflected on this a lot, particularly when I took my break from work and really thinking about my values and what was important to me. And I really started thinking about, my career and when I was feeling frustrated and things like that, and why I didn't progress the way I thought I should have, whatever. And I realized it was my reputation is what was propelling me forward. I look at people I'd worked with and say they would get a promotion before I would, and I'd get really frustrated with it. And I'd be like, why? Why is that not me? But then a couple years later, they'd be exited from the company and I was still there. And I realized it was because I was good at what I did and I focused on being good at what I did. And my reputation is is, is what's carried me.
Yeah, when I think about other women that I really admire within oil and gas, some of them I don't even know, I haven't even met, but I know them by their reputation.
Absolutely.
And every single person that knows them or has worked with them always has this high praise and they speak of their qualities as both
Yes.
technical and as a person. And it always is like they're such a great engineer, they're such a great geologist, they're such a great relations person.
So
They're so good at their job and they're so nice
nice.
and they're so kind and so easy to get along with and so generous. So like your reputation actually precedes you
It
and people
does.
know you before you actually get to meet them
Yeah.
because of your reputation.
Like where I'm working now, I actually didn't know anybody there, but it was my relationship I had and my reputation that got me there. My name was given to somebody and they're like, this is who you need. This is who you want. Right.
Right.
And it was also a place where I've gone where my experience is valued. So I've also felt my confidence really go up because I'm at a place where like, okay, we've hired you because you bring all this to the table. Um, yeah.
Awesome.
So it's all kind of coming together. It's unfortunate we have to wait this late in life or this late in our careers to figure it out.
So you said something earlier when we first started talking about doing the right thing.
Mhm.
What does that actually look like, and what does that actually mean? And where does that? How do you know you're doing the right thing, or you're following the right path, or making the right decision? Like, is that an intuition? Is it a heart thing? Is it just a sensing for you that you
It's
just understand it?
it,
Is it?
it's really just all of the above. Like I've always told people, for the work I do, you can't really go to school for it. Like you either just you know it or you don't, right?
Mhm.
And when I'm hiring people in my space, I can tell right away. Like they've either got it, and I don't know what it is, but I can feel what the it is. And it's just that I think that intuition, it's that heart, um, but it's also that business savvy. Like this is the
Mhm.
other thing. Like I find a lot of people that work in my space are, I want to say bleeding hearts, but they can't see the commercial side of things or the business side of things. Um, like I I have a foot in two worlds in my job. I have a foot in the community. So I'm the voice of community back into the business, and I'm the voice of the business back into the community in a lot of things that I do. And I have to be able to speak in both worlds. I have to be able to build trust in both worlds, and I have to help both sides understand the other. Um, and for me, yeah, it's a feeling. I can just tell. And if some if something's working right or going right, or I can sense if something's wrong. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it's hard. I've always found it really hard to explain. I just know. And I also want to say though, I'm also very picky about who I work for, because the values have to be aligned.
Right.
And that's like what we talk about. Not There's certain companies I won't work for because their values don't align with my values. So it would make my job really hard. And
Absolutely.
um, that's what's important to me as well. And so it also makes my job easier. Like I can have the hard conversations either in a community or with a stakeholder group, or also with like CEOs and whatnot. Like I can have those hard conversations because I know our values are similar.
Yes. Um, I understand that one very well too.
Yeah.
Where it's really hard to spend your working hours, which is a significant part of our day, in an environment that doesn't align with your values
Yeah,
at the core. So really being
absolutely.
clear and understanding what your own values are is one of the keys to success.
It really is. And I think it's something people need to stop and think about a little bit more. Like
Mhm.
when I talk to friends that are not happy in their careers, when I really look at it, a lot of it has to do with, if you go down to the root, there's a value misalignment there.
Exact.
Um, because if your values are aligned with who or you're working with or working for, you all pull in the same direction, right?
Yeah, I would say even vision, right?
Even
Like
vision,
like
absolutely,
values and vision, you have to be aligned because
totally,
if you aren't pulling in the same direction, your energy gets scattered.
totally, totally. And life is too short to be doing things that you don't want to do, which is, the next thing I want to say is, it's funny. I've had this conversation with a lot of people in the last few days. Um, when I went back to work, I had said to myself, whatever I do, it has to bring me joy.
Mm,
And like my job brings me joy. I've always loved what I've done, even in the lowest times. I've always loved what I've done. But I'm like, yeah, whatever you do needs to bring you joy. And I do what brings me joy. And I think most people should, because we spend so much of our time at work or doing work. And if it's not bringing you joy, why are you doing it?
you know, I
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's things we have to do that don't bring us joy, like
oh gosh,
housework and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, no,
But
no, it
yeah,
can't be joy all the time, every day. But in
yeah,
essence, it's like when you come home at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, a
yeah,
reflection on the year that you had more good times than bad times. And I think I even think down to like the basics of survival. Like I grew up, on a farm, and it was at times sheer survival.
hmm,
But I remember my mom especially like looking out at our cow herd and just being so proud and so happy at the calves jumping in the
yeah,
spring. And it was that moment of joy. Like, yes, the day was hard and there was so much um, challenges throughout, even in the winter and everything. But to have that sense of pride and satisfaction and
passion,
joy
yeah,
and
yeah,
purpose, like this is what I'm working for. I don't think it matters what job you're doing. If that is the sense that you leave your working hours with, then you
absolutely,
have found the right spot for you.
absolutely. And I think of that saying that, and I think back to my career. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh gosh.
And I mean, I had only heard that a few years ago. I'm like, where's this been in my career? Because,
Yeah.
I go back
Oh,
to, you know, reputation relationship in your career and the times where someone else would get that job. And I realize I was always comparing myself to that person, and it is the thief of joy. And I think of that all the time.
Oh gosh,
But
yeah.
I look for joy in every day, even on the lowest days I've ever had. I've always tried to find joy. And in work, we need to have joy.
We do. Otherwise, it's a very long.
It's a very long day.
It's a very,
Very long day.
Yeah.
And no amount of money can pay for that.
No, that's true. No,
It's true. It's true.
No. On the heels of thief of comparison is a thief of joy. You said something earlier about getting in your head. Like, how do you get out of your head if that comes up?
I spend a lot of time in my head. I spend a lot of time talking to myself in my head, like not outwardly verbal.
Oh, I talk outwardly.
Yeah, no, I'm in my head a lot. I know when I'm in my head. I can tell you there's been times where I've just sat on my stairs crying, thinking, I'm a like, what am I doing? Like, I'm a fraud. Like this whole imposter syndrome thing.
Gosh.
Sometimes I just sit and have a good cry. um, but then I, I look back on what I've done, and I'm like, get out of your way, Heather. Like you've earned the right to be there. You've earned the right to be at that table. You have that experience. These people that are around you, they're no better, they're no worse than you. Their experiences are different. And it goes back to the comparison, right? And yeah, I do some self-talk. Yeah. It's hard. And I don't verbalize it with friends. Like I don't, and I wish I was different that way, but it also comes back down to a confidence thing and
Oh yeah.
lots of things. But I lean in, I let myself lean into it for a little bit, but I don't fixate and focus on it. Like I think you have to acknowledge it, give it a little bit of space, and then back away from it.
The crying bit is actually a huge closure to that loop. When people cry and you just release and you let it all out and there is no interruption. So parents interrupting kids, a spouse interrupting their partner, friends interrupting, like no interruption. You need to just be able to cry it out.
Cry it
and
out.
cry all the emotion out. You're actually bringing up all of that grief.
Yeah.
And what happens in the brain is super interesting is the brain starts reconnecting the neural
Really?
circuit and you can actually then do a shift. That's
Yeah.
where the shift happens, but not if it's interrupted.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about a paradigm shift or a thought shift or an awareness shift, that is the crying bit or feeling that grief or feeling the emotion or getting angry or whatever feeling or emotion comes up is actually super important to get you to that next stage and complete the cycle and create the shift in your brain to be able to just take that step forward.
The one thing I do, is I acknowledge my feelings. I let myself feel what I'm feeling. I give my feelings time and space. I acknowledge them. I try not to suppress them. I have to park them for a moment or two because it may not be the most appropriate time to be, feeling what I'm feeling or outwardly expressing what I want to be feeling. But that's the one thing I've really learned over the last years is to acknowledge my feelings, to give them some time and space. Some need more time and space than others. And I acknowledge them. And then you can move on, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I believe if you don't acknowledge what you were feeling, you fester. And the other thing I do is I name the feeling. I started this probably about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. When I get into a room and I'm frustrated or I'm mad, I say to myself, what are you feeling? Is it fear? Is it rejection? Is it envy? Like, what is it? And I stop myself and I'm like, what is that feeling? And I actually say it out loud. Because if you can name the feeling, you can move past the feeling. If you stop and think, what exactly am I upset about? Like, what is that? Name it. Then you're like, okay, get it. And I can move on. I've really had to learn how to do that. in my corporate world because I would be in rooms and at tables and I'd be getting really mad. And I'm like, why are you, what's the feeling you're feeling and why?
Mm,
And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. And then I can reframe and move forward.
that's incredibly powerful,
It is. And
especially the reframing part.
it's the reframe. But when you can name what you're feeling, you can understand better and you can reframe and move forward.
Mm. It's like almost now you're back in the driver's seat and you have control.
And I've been doing it for so long now. I notice, like, particularly when I'm frustrated in a
Mhm.
meeting or dealing with people, I quickly can identify that feeling. Like it happens almost like naturally now. And then I just move on.
Right.
Doesn't mean I'm not gonna, like, when I get home, be pissed off about something or think about it. But I'm like, what was that feeling and why?
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's great advice.
yeah,
I have two last
sure.
questions. I want you to touch on ambition and just in terms of like, do you need to be an ambitious person to work in an oil and gas space and a job like you're doing? And what really is ambition? And I'm asking this because ambition in women is often seen as a negative.
Yes. Yes. Ambition. Yeah. If, yeah, women in our space, it really is looked as negative.
Mhm.
Like, you're aggressive, you're assertive, you want too much. You're moving too quickly.
Oh,
I love that one. Oh, you're moving too quickly. You don't have enough experience yet. The male counterpart who has way less experience. Um, I've thought a lot about ambition and how it shows up and how you project it. And I've realized it's something I project my ambition differently now than I did before. I think earlier in my career, it was a lot more outward, a lot more overt. Um, Whereas now, and in the last years, it's been much more subtle.
mm,
Um, and I think it's actually served me better. But it's also finding those trusted colleagues where you can express what your ambition is. Um, I think it's important for other people around you that you work with to know what you want to do, where you want to go. I actually find having men knowing what you want to do is really important.
it is.
My experience has been women hold other women back
Mhm.
a lot more than men. Um, I've had to fight that battle, so you should too. I've heard that so much in my career.
Yeah.
But for me, it's been how I've articulated that ambition, but I've also had to really think about what that means to me and really what is it that I'm looking for and the why behind what I was looking for and where I want to get to. Um, yeah, over the last years, I've just, expressed to more people about, kind of what I want to do, where I want to go and put it out there. And I find it comes back to, I've changed how I express it or just not, I don't want to say I'm not as bold about it, but I think it's just, yeah, I'm a little bit more subtle about it, but it's been hard because that's just it, as you said, like, as women, if you're ambitious, that can be held against you, right?
Yeah. And it's a double-edged
It
sword.
really is.
And it is, again, going back to the relationships with people, especially your coworkers. Um, I found if people labeled you as ambitious and too ambitious,
Yeah,
that would instantly sever those relationships as well. And sometimes it'd be a very lonely
yeah.
place. And
But then to me, it also goes back to if people there feel that I'm too ambitious, our values aren't aligning, and that's not the right place
mm,
for me.
fair.
And if you don't see my value and what I bring you, you don't deserve me. That's the other thing is not everybody deserves us in their lives, right?
Yeah, true.
And as someone who holds on to people, it's taken me a long time to learn that not everyone who has been in my life and in my circle deserves me and deserves to be in my life and circle. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's probably a topic for another day.
Yeah, it is. It probably is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So okay, so my thank you so much for all of that wisdom. But my last question is again around like what do you think choosing life boldly looks like? What's your definition?
Oh, that's a hard one. I mean, I have lived life boldly.
Yes.
I don't obviously I've chosen it, but I don't see it as a choice. It's just how I've done it. Um, there's a few things that really guide my life. Um, I really believe you go down the path that you're meant to go down, not necessarily the path you think you're supposed to go down. Um, I'm I just believe in, well, let's just try it. I mean, you never know how things are going to turn out. Yeah, I'm really I've just lived this, I think, bold path because of my parents. I thank my parents for it. I mean, they're both quite adventurous as well in their own right. I look back and I'm like, yeah, it's a bold path, but for me, it's just in my life, right? Um, but I think part of it is living your joy, making sure that you're finding joy. Um, be true to yourself. Just be honest with yourself about what you want, where you want to go, what you want to do. Um, put things out there. I mean, I have put things out there that I've wanted to do, and they've turned out. And I've kind of just let my path go where it's gone, and it has served me incredibly well. I mean, I've had an amazing life so far. I've had amazing experiences. Don't get me wrong. There's been some real lows in there. There's also trade-offs. I think that's what we also have to understand is to live a bold life. There's also trade-offs, and that's okay. You just need to just know that there's trade-offs, and my journey is going to be different than your journey. One doesn't make one better than the other. One doesn't make one right or wrong. And your idea of bold might be different than my idea of bold.
Right.
And that's okay too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you said it really well when you said it's that joy part. I do think choosing joy is probably the boldest move
Yes.
that anybody can do because you're the only one who understands why you might say yes to a job, why you might say no
Yes.
to a job or an opportunity, or even a relationship, or or even a house or
Or whatever.
a space that
Yep.
you're living in. Like you are the only one that understands
You're the only one living your life.
and in your body
Yeah.
and feeling your feeling.
What brings me joy is going to be very different. What brings you joy, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you so much, Heather. So good.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you. Oh,
Amazing.
it is. It is.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Now that's what choosing boldly looks like. Not loud, not perfect, just decided. If this conversation connected with you, please share it with somebody who needs to hear it. Find me at juliamckelgun.com and know that A Life Chosen arrives in September and there's a course coming as well. I'll see you in the next one.